But just to see the way the city of Worthington and that team rallied around what they call Gus Strong, their movement,
Gotcha.
it tore my heart apart. But to see the way he approached life, I truly still think about him every now and then when I'm going through a tough day. I'm thinking, Stephen had tough days.
Wow.
Why are they so angry? Why are they so angry? Why do they think this way? Why do they think this way? You can always find that middle ground if you're willing to listen again. There is so much more unity among all this division, but the division is what gets all the noise. I know what T.U.R.N is doing is amazing right here in Central Ohio. We need more small organizations like that are making a larger impact than people even know about.
Welcome to Turn Up with Pastor Charlie. First of all, we would like to say thank you to the River Radio Podcast Studio for the space that we occupy, to our visionary Bert and Stephanie Lindsay and the Lindsay Foundation, all of our partners, local churches, schools, 501c3s, and nonprofit organizations who has come beside us, all for the well-being of the community. Today, I'm always excited about my guests, but I'm excited extremely because Matt Barnes is a native of Columbus, and he is here with us today. He studied at Ohio University, a graduate from E.W. Scripps School of Journalism. And after college, he took a job in Augusta, Georgia with WRDW-TV, and he made his way back home. That's what I'm more excited about. He made his way back home to Columbus. And he joined NBC4 as a sport reporter and anchor for about 6 years. Then 2016, if I'm correct, Matt left that sports side and became a co-anchor at NBC4 Today, the station morning news show, which I enjoy watching every morning. Most mornings I'm up and seeing that. So thank you, Matt Barnes. Welcome to our show today.
Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Pastor Charlie.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself that was not mentioned. I just kind of did a little snippet, but I know there's a lot more to you. Just share a little bit more about your journey.
Well, it's been fun. I grew up wanting to do what I'm doing for a long, long time. You could ask my elementary school teachers when they asked what I wanted to do in the future. I said I want to be on TV. At the time, I said I wanted to be on ESPN because it was the heyday of ESPN at the time, and SportsCenter was must-see TV because you couldn't just go to your phone to see highlights. You had to wait till 11 p.m. to see the highlights of all the games and whatever it may be. And so I'm so fortunate to not only do what I want to do in terms of being on television and telling stories, but to do it in my hometown, to follow my favorite teams, to tell stories about the communities that I grew up in or were around, and talk to people that I've known for years.
Amen.
And seeing my city change for the better, it's an absolute blessing.
So it's amazing how you always wanted to do this. You always knew you wanted to be on TV. Most people go to school and college and take all types of classes and have no idea what they're going to be. But you seem to follow that journey and follow that path, and it worked out for you. So what stories you cover over the years with NBC, or not just with NBC, but over the years, that one story that kind of sticks with you? It's like, you know what? I will never forget this one.
Yeah, there's so many great ones. I mean, I've been so fortunate to go to many cool places and talk to many wonderful people and cover so many great events. But the ones that always stick with me are the ones that I'm constantly thinking about because they affected the way I approach life or see different situations. And I know one that always has stuck with me when I was doing sports. I can't exactly remember the year, maybe 2013, 2014, but it was the former baseball coach of Thomas Worthington. Name was Stephen Gussler. I've known him for a while, but very, very loose connection because his brother went to my preschool, and it was one of those things where it's like, oh, I know the last name. But I found out through some article or through an email that he was battling cancer, and I said, well, here's a coach that's battling cancer. How is he inspiring his team? Yeah. And so I did the story, and at the time he mentioned, hey, I have about 6 to 9 months to live. I'm going to approach every day, with everything I got.
Yeah.
The next year, the next baseball season, he's still there. He's still fighting, and we're past the 6 to 9 month part, so we do another story.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is part of what's keeping me alive, keeping me going. And it's just his positivity, his zeal, his faith was what just stuck with me. And then the next year, he's still alive, but he can't coach anymore because it's just, his body's starting to give out on him, and he, gets real tired. So he couldn't do it full time, but he would still show up every now and then. But just to see the way the city of Worthington and that team rallied around what they call Gus Strong, their movement, really just moved me. And so, seeing his journey over the 2.5 years and following it each year, it tore my heart apart. But to see the way this community supported him, and to see his, the way he approached life.
Yeah.
I truly still think about him every now and then when I'm going through a tough day. I'm thinking, Stephen had tough days.
Wow.
And he still, came out with such positivity and light. And his big thing was not so much my problems, but how do I help these kids get to the goals they want?
Absolutely.
How do I help our season be better? How do I help them become better people, better men? And so, he's one I always think about. And then fortunately, I did a story just a couple years ago on the news side where his daughter is now playing field hockey.
Okay.
And the field hockey coach, before Stephen died, Stephen told her, hey, I know I'm not, I may not be here to watch my daughter play field hockey, but you can't retire until she plays field hockey with you. And so she was getting close to retirement. She said, all right, I have to wait another 5-6 years until I can retire. His daughter does play freshman year. They win the state championship.
Wow.
And she says after they won, she happened to look up. This is late at night, the lights of the stadium run. And she said she saw what she thinks was a shooting star or something like that. And she's convinced that was Stephen saying, thank you.
Wow.
You stayed on as a coach. Now my daughter gets to play under you, won a state championship under you. And I've been watching this whole time. And so it's stories like that just give me chills. And I'm so fortunate to be able to tell stories like that to the community.
Yeah, your eyes have seen some great stories, and you reported them. How you feel that Ohio University prepared you for that?
Oh yeah, I was very fortunate. I looked at so many schools across the nation, and I got to be honest, I did not want to go to school in Ohio at all. I wanted to escape the nest.
Yeah,
I love my parents. I love Columbus, but I was ready to leave Ohio and try something new.
Yeah.
Ohio University was the only school in Ohio I applied to. It was my quote unquote safety school.
Yeah.
And it was the last school I visited. And I remember going on that campus. My dad's with me on the tour. 20 minutes into the tour, as I'm walking around, I look at him and say, oh man, I'm going to go here. I already know it.
Yeah, I already know it.
I loved it. I love the feel of it. I love the how welcoming it was. It was just beautiful fall day in Athens. But the school was great because from freshman year, they immediately let us work. We were already in radio stations. We were working at the TV station. We were working with the high school football show, very hands-on. And so from freshman to senior year, I was always doing something, always learning something, making mistakes, but learning from them.
Yeah.
And through that, by the time I took my first job, I felt more than prepared to take on the real world.
Let's. You mentioned your mom and dad, so let's go ahead and give them a great shout out because they are one of the reasons, not just you being here in life, but you're part of. Your mom is part of what we do, the Ultimate Resource Network, known as T.U.R.N. And I had interviewed her a couple of years ago, and she's like, "You need to have my son Matt on." I'm like, you know what? I think I'm so glad that we are where we're at now. We have upgraded where we are now at the river. I was like, yes, let's get Matt in here. So let's give them a shout out. Both of your parents. We just saw them over the weekend. We had an event, and they both was there. So feel free to shout out.
Oh yeah, I'm very fortunate. My parents, live 5 minutes away from me, and they've helped raise me to be someone who is always thinking about not what I can do just for the people around me, but what I can do for my whole community. Yes. And so you see that every day, as I'm sure you do, how much my mom and dad are involved in so many things. In my mind, too many things, because I want them to be retired and enjoy life a little more.
Right.
But I know that's what they do enjoy is giving back and paying it forward and making sure that they're a blessing to others. And I've been so fortunate to have that lesson, and I try to do that myself. I'm very, very lucky to know that in the job I'm in, there are a lot of eyes on me, and that gives me a platform. Try to use that platform for good and try to help others and call attention to different causes and organizations that need that.
Absolutely.
And by doing that, I can hopefully make some positive changes around this city and this community.
Yeah. You've been involved with Big Brothers from for quite some time. How was that? And what's been the biggest lesson from mentoring big brothers?
Oh, yeah, I think it's one of those things where everyone kept telling me, "Oh, you'd be good at it." And I said, "Guys, I don't have time. I mean,
Right.
the TV schedule's all over the place. You never know when I'm going in, and hours can be wild." But they said it's just just twice a month. You just meet with the kid and just listen, just do that.
Yeah.
And so I did it, the first time with my first little Jalen, who's actually his birthday's today, and it was amazing because what I found out is, first off, it's fun to hear what teenagers these days are going through.
Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes I think we always just hear the stories about what they're doing on the bad side, like, oh man, they're getting in trouble here, they're taking part of violence here, all this stuff, and you kind of forget there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of different things that their pressures that they're going through that I went through, that you went through. There's social media is a pressure that none of us have to deal with, and they have to deal with it each and every day. Oh my gosh,
whole different element.
The best and worst thing ever in this world that ever invented. So just being able to talk with him and hear what he's going through, on top of his background, which was incredibly sad in terms of mom and dad weren't in his life, and so. I just learned a lot about compassion, learned a lot about just how important listening is. And then frankly, it's just fun because, I got to do all the things I want to do as an adult with him. Like sometimes I just want to go bowling. And it's like, great, I have an excuse to go bowling now because let's me and Jalen go bowling.
Yeah.
I wanted to see this movie that I'm sure my wife didn't want to see, but I know he wants to see it.
Right.
So I have a reason to go to a movie with him. And so I'm on my second little right now named Kareem. He's fantastic. He'll graduate in June from high school. And between having two littles like that and getting to experience it twice to be a mentor, it's just been great. And I think if more people were willing to do it, it would be such an important thing because all people complain about all the terrible things young people are doing. They're out in the streets and stuff like that. Well, here's a way to help.
Absolutely.
And you can't help them all, but you can help one, and let's all start there. So I always encourage anyone and everyone, if you can be a mentor to one of these young people in our community, please do it. It's a great organization to be a part of.
It is. It really is. I've done some mentoring with FCA, Fellowship Christian Athletes, and we have the fifth and sixth graders, and we go up to the school and do the clapping, we spend time with them, help them with their homework, things of that nature. Now, this one kid made such an impact. It was February 22nd of 2022. So it's like those numbers kind of like, I said, man, I'm going to remember you. He's an little Asian kid. And I said, I'm going to remember this day because we wrote down his vision. We wrote his vision that day. And I said, I'm going to look forward to the day that you say, I remember Mr. Charlie that helped me write this vision. I said, because I know it's going to come to pass with you. Yeah. And it just made an impact on my life. I mean, we thinking we are making an impact on their lives, but they are actually making an impact on our lives. So,
absolutely.
So I encourage those who can mentor, coach the kids needs us today. How has it been giving back influenced you, how you approach journalism?
Well, for one thing, it allows you to be more compassionate when you tell a story. When you go do that interview, sometimes you're always thinking about, okay, I need to wrap this up. I need to get this done quickly because I got to get this story on the air. But if you just stop and listen and really take the time to think about what that person's going through or went through or what they're experiencing at the time, you really can tell a better story. Yeah. And so that's one thing. The other thing is with all the division that's happening in this country, if you really, again, take that time to think about, all right, why are they so angry? Why are they so angry? Why do they think this way? Why do they think this way? You can always find that middle ground if you're willing to listen again. And so that's what I think, giving back and all that has taught me is just that there is so much more unity among all this division, but the division is what gets all the noise. Correct. We are so fortunate, again, with this platform, while we have to tell those stories, we are able to tell stories that do show people coming together to make this world a better place, make these, our city and communities a better place. So, if we can always find that right balance of telling the news that you have to know, but also the news that I think you need to know, in terms to make you feel a little bit better about the direction of our country and our city, I I think that's our job. So yes, we're going to still be fair and balanced on different things, but we're also going to be a little biased toward, hey, you need to hear some good news. You need to hear about the organizations that are really trying to make a difference.
And that is the purpose of me doing what I do. This platform, a lot of people can use it for other reasons. They can preach for 30 minutes, and I feel, yes, we need to preach word. However, I believe there's plenty of that out there. What I personally felt like there was not enough positive information. So therefore, my objective is to bring on people that are doing positive things in the community and for our city, and bringing them in to give positive exposure to what they're doing. That was my main objective. You get up pretty early in the morning to be at the station by 4 a.m. What is your rhythm, and what keeps you positive throughout the day? Do you drink coffee?
I don't actually.
I do not either.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, before I came here, I got Starbucks, but it was hot chocolate. I just like the taste. I'm still a child at heart. I wake up around 2:30 in the morning, and we roll into the station at 3:30 or so, and immediately read scripts, and we're on the air at 4. And obviously, you're not fully awake at 4 a.m. yet. I would say that 4 to 5 a.m. first hour is the rough draft because we're just still waking up. But yeah, it's there are people that I know that come up to me and say, "Yeah, I watch you at 4 a.m." And I'm thinking, why? But they're the ones they're doctors who are getting ready for their first shift. They're people that wake up early, that love to just exercise early. There are a lot of farmers that watch us early because they're getting up as quick as they can to get ready on their crops, and they care about the weather, obviously, because that's going to determine their day. So you do remember that, even though we're not fully awake, there are people that are counting on us. And so that's part of the reason why, we get up and we that pushes us through the day. And even on the toughest news days, we always have to remember, this is important. This is important to a lot of people. And so, you got to give it everything you got. I know for me, once that light comes on, I'm on, because you never know who's watching. And you always want to give your 100% each and every day. In terms of staying positive, again, that can be tough because the news can be so tough. But, I do always think about, again, think about all the good things that are happening, despite all the bad that we always talk about. And it's a delicate balance sometimes because sometimes the news really does beat us down. But we try to continue to find ways to lift ourselves back up and try to lift the audience up with either a funny story or something that just reminds them that, hey, there are good things still happening. But it can be tough sometimes. It really can, especially that early in the morning when we're not fully awake and you just hear all this nonsense sometimes, and you want to try to just block it out, but you can't. I'm
typically your 6 a.m. guy.
Most people are.
I'm just 6 a.m. I'll turn it on and I'm catching you guys, and I like towards the end when it's going off and you kind of all the news has been given, y'all kind of have a little chatter there. I was like, it's so funny. And I have met quite a few in the sense of like Andrea Henderson, who moved. I ended up meeting her a little while back before she left. And I want to say that Isabella is on the other channel.
Nope, Isabella's on our channel.
I met Isabella. Haven't met Monica yet. So I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of the team. And I'm looking forward to that. Great group of people. The relationship seems so natural. Because y'all been together for a while.
Correct.
Assuming.
And I think people always think like, is that fake? It's like, no, trust me. At 4 a.m., you can't fake it. We're barely awake to try to fake anything. It'd be harder to fake it than it would be to just be ourselves. No, we actually truly enjoy each other's company. We have a lot of fun. I'm glad you can't hear what we say during commercials sometimes. But we really do have a good time. And if you don't have that chemistry, you don't have that camaraderie, it doesn't work. So I'm glad we do have it.
What are some of the best advice you received in regards of your job, and who gave it to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's advice I get all the time, which is, first off, the first bit of advice I always got, even in college and then early on, is just get to know a little bit of everything at the station, just because you'll have greater respect for what everyone's jobs is. If everyone from photographer to our producers to our directors to our editors, assignment desks, everyone, if you have a better idea of what each person does, you then, when one person messes up, you don't get as angry as you used to, because you're like, well, wait a second, oh, they misspelled a word. Well, you didn't see for the last hour how they were cranking over all these other scripts while trying to deal with breaking news. And you have, again, more compassion, more respect for their job, and then that'll help you do your job better, and how you can further help them to help you do your job better. The second thing is you've got to be engaged, and that means engaged not just in the news that is happening in our city, in our world, but you got to be engaged in your own community, and that means get out. All right, yes. Get out of the station.
Absolutely.
I know as an anchor, the biggest thing for us is always just that 4 to 7 a.m. morning show and making sure we do that right. But after 7 a.m., if I can get out of the station and go tell a story outside of those walls, it's going to make me a better anchor, because when I talk about a story that's happening in Franklinton, or a story in Gahanna or whatever, and I've been in that community, I have an idea of what's happening because I've been there. It makes you better, and so if you're only around an anchor or a reporter that is only in the same place at one or never even gets out, they're just kind of going off what they read or or what they hear. You want to be there, So that's the biggest thing, because we are so out in the community as much as we are. We just have a better understanding of why people feel the way they do, why things are the way they are.
Absolutely.
And then obviously growing up here has been huge, because there's some history there too. I always joke about, seeing the growth of Easton and seeing the growth of even the Scioto Mile, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember back when City Center was a mall, and now it's Columbus Commons, things like that.
That's right.
So you can give that historical context to different stories as well. So those are the two biggest things. And then, of course, just being nice to others is the biggest piece of advice, because all of our jobs are hard enough.
Yes.
Don't make it harder by being rude and insincere. Yes. Just be a nice person each and every day, and that'll help.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. Good advice there. How do you balance the personal life? Because we all know that you got married last year, and how is the working relationship and the personal life, how you balance that? Because I can attest, I work in the same place as my spouse as well. So we do stay in our lanes. That's what I figured out that was best. So how it works for you?
It's been fun for us. So for those who don't know, for the last 8 or 9 weeks, I've been anchoring with my wife in the morning, because Monica, Dave, my normal co-anchor, is on maternity leave. Yep. Until she comes back, it's been me and Sierra doing it. It's been fun because, instead of me waking up at the crack of dawn and, her rolling into work around 9:30, and we kind of cross for like 2 hours and then see each other back at home when she gets back, we're going at the same time, leaving at the same time. So that's been nice to see each other a little bit more. As far as the personal life, working life, we both have been doing this for so long that we kind of approach our jobs the same way, in terms of, we know that, it still is a job, but it's also something we're very passionate about. So we both want to tell stories. We both want to do it well. We both understand how the business works, things like that. What makes it easy is that we both have the same complaints normally. We both have the same criticisms.
Yeah, someone who understands.
Correct. It's a business that can be very niche, like things that I complain about, and to my friends who don't understand, they're like, why is that a problem? Oh, you don't understand, whatever. Just like I wouldn't understand why a tax accountant is annoyed. Don't get me started. I don't know.
Right.
So at least we can discuss things like that. But I will say, anchoring together from 4 to 7 a.m. has been a lot of fun. Neither of us are in our best moods, let's say, right when we first wake up. I'm not a morning person, despite having worked mornings for 10 years. I literally feel terrible when I walk into that station and I don't say good morning to anyone, because I'm just not awake yet. And I feel bad.
Head down, keep moving.
They say good morning. I'm not being rude. I'm just not awake. But by time the show starts, we're all in a great mood and we're able to discuss and have a good time. So it's been a lot of fun to not only work together for this morning show, but just in general to work at the same station, because we did long distance for 2 years. She was working at the NBC station in San Francisco.
Oh wow!
So doing that. Both in the same business, but completely different cities, atmospheres, and obviously time zones made it difficult. So this is much better.
Well, congratulations again. I know I mentioned it on Facebook a couple times, but I just want to say congratulations again to that. If you were not in broadcasting, Matt, what would you be doing today?
It's funny. Everyone asks me that, and I never really have a good answer. I just know it'd be something that would have to involve helping people because that's, if anything, that's what through this job has really become a passion for me is how do I find a way to make a difference in a community or in people's lives. Now that doesn't mean I want to be a nurse because I don't want to go to medical school or anything like that. I don't want to be a lawyer because I don't want to go to school ever again. I'm good on that.
Okay. Got your time, man.
Yeah, I love learning. I just don't want to learn in a classroom anymore. That's all. But I don't know. The only things I was really interested in college outside of broadcasting were I was a part of intramural sports and I was an official and did some of that, or I was the tour guide and I really enjoyed the whole college admissions process.
Okay.
But that's it. And honestly, I have no idea. I'm so locked in on what I do now and how to do it better and be a better broadcaster, journalist, and et cetera, that I've never truly thought about it. But whatever it would be, it would have to involve helping people. So maybe down the road, it's something where it's be a part of a nonprofit and help them in their communications, marketing, awareness campaigns, but I'm not rushing to get out of my job, so don't push me out.
That won't be me. I love seeing you on TV.
Okay,
you
good.
did a great job. What legacy do you hope to leave, both on air and off air?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more concerned about the off-air one because the on-air one, I hate to say it,
but take care of yourself.
Yeah, and we all feel the same way in terms of, sadly, we're all replaceable when it comes to on TV or in media in general. Right when someone leaves, what do they do the next day? Someone new's there.
Yeah.
And so, as much as you like to think you made an impact on air, they're always ready and have to put someone else there. But as far as off-air, I hope people recognize that I really do care about. Giving back and, calling attention to positive stories and platforms and issues and organizations. If people know me in this city, most likely it's because they've seen me MC an event or be involved in an event or a nonprofit. Because it's hard for me to say no to anything because I want to, mainly because I want to hear more about what's happening and who I can help and how other people can help that organization. I think next week alone, I have 5 events in 5 different days.
Wow.
And, on this schedule, that's not easy because that means less sleep. But I'd rather be doing that than just sit at home, watching TV and, rotting my brain.
Yeah.
If I can help this organization or help that organization or, spend some time with my little, go volunteer somewhere, I will absolutely do that because life's too short to just sit and just waste away. If I can instead find a way to, help someone, help some body, some place, some organization, I'll do that. So I hope that's the legacy I leave. It's just, man, he was everywhere because he wanted to try to make a difference somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for your time because I know you are busy. I know there's a lot going on and you're involved in a lot. So I want to thank you for being here on our show today. I'm going to give you about 2 or 3 minutes to share anything that's on your heart that you want the watching and listening audience to know. Not just about you, but what impact, and not just the legacy, but anything that's on your heart right now.
Yeah.
I know you're faith-based and things of that nature. So what's on your heart that you want the watching and listening people to know?
Well, I mean, I hope people just, understand that. And I said this earlier, it says this is a very, very divided time right now. And it's, a lot of people are angry and they're frustrated. They're hurt by what's going on. Mainly, it seems like not even in our community, but just what they hear out of, whether it's Washington or the world. And I continue just try to remind people, just try to, if you can, focus in on the area you live in, on the community you live in, and just make positive change there. Yeah. If you can just do that, I think that'll make your soul feel better. It'll make your community better, and then let it grow from there. Yeah. I just feel like too often we're all focusing on things that are not. They're not positively affecting us, gotcha. And it's allowing us to get angry and frustrated and hurt and things like that. So that's my big thing. And granted, I know my medium is part of the problem because we are the ones who are telling people, this matters, this matters, this matters, and it does. What does matter across the world does matter. Yes, but don't let it so negatively affect your day to day, your personality. Because that's where it starts to deviate into a bad territory. So I just always try to tell people that, our job is just to inform you about things that are going on in the world.
Sure.
But after that, you've got to take the 30 minutes or the hour that you watch and then go out into the world and then find a way to make a positive change in someone's life. And if you can do that, even if it's just a small thing as, just volunteering at a local food pantry, mentoring a young person, just donating money to a cause that is near and dear to your heart because you can't, physically be there.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do is important. And so, like I said, I'm lucky I have a platform where I can at least amplify these organizations and places and people. But if you don't have that, you can do it in your time, talent, and treasure, whatever you have. So I will continue to preach that to the day I die.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good message.
Yeah,
that's a good
message. If we don't do that, we're going to continue to, get worse off as a nation and a community. So, I thank you for this platform. What you all are doing is great here, and I know what T.U.R.N is doing is amazing right here in Central Ohio. We need more small organizations like that are making a larger impact than people even know about, because that really will start to make a difference slowly but surely.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you again. Say hello to your wife, your parents as well. We want to thank you for being on our show, and looking forward to your future, because I know God is doing some great things in your life. So we're just going to take this time to say thank you for being on Turn Up with Pastor Charlie. And we would like to say thank you to the River Radio Podcast Studio for this space that we occupy, to our visionary, Bert and Stephanie Lindsay, and the Lindsay Foundation, all of our co-chairs, 501Cs, nonprofit organization, all partner with us for the well-being of the community. And as you said, we have made a point to start in our community. Our zip codes are 4322, 43227, 43068, and 43213. Those 4 zip codes, we have businesses in those areas, and churches and schools, and we have focused in on our community to make it a better place, a thriving place that God can be proud of spiritually, economically, and socially. So again, Matt Barnes, we thank you for what you're doing in the city for our community, and we want to say again, thank you. God bless you.